Gyan Ganga on our Virat Hindustan Sangam social media channels. As you know, we are simultaneously on various social media platforms, and we have this program every Sunday at 8 p.m. Today again we are with an interesting topic: Iran files, what's unfolding and where it ends. So for the next 40 minutes, we, along with Dr. Subramanian Swamy, will be talking on this topic, which is very important for our region, especially because Iran is very close and it may have an impact and already having an impact on our Indian economy. So with these words, we will be now going to pay tributes to Mr. M.K. Rao, a freedom fighter, an unsung freedom fighter from Karnataka region, Karnataka Andhra region, and we will showing you a short video and paying tributes to this unsung freedom fighter.
Muduvadu Krishna Rao was a journalist, writer, and powerful orator associated with the early freedom movement and cultural awakening in the Kannada-speaking region. Born on the 24th of July 1874 in Bagalkot, during British rule, he was deeply affected by colonial cultural domination, economic exploitation, and the lack of self-governance for Indians. Motivated by these conditions, he supported the freedom struggle through journalism, language, and public communication, spreading awareness and nationalist ideas. Fluent in Kannada and several other languages, he became known for translating speeches by national leaders, including Jawaharlal Nehru and Pattabhi Sitaramaiah, into Kannada, making the message of the freedom movement accessible to those who did not understand Hindi or English. Through his writings and editorials, he helped awaken political awareness among the youth, while promoting a shared regional identity and cultural unity connected to the broader struggle against colonial rule. He passed away on the 7th of September 1947, just a few weeks after India achieved independence. He is honored as one of India's unsung heroes in the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav commemoration, and recognized in Karnataka's regional history for his contributions. His legacy remains a powerful reminder that every voice counts, and that nurturing both cultural and political awareness is essential for the progress of society.
Virat Hindustan Sangam pays tribute to this great freedom fighter. So with these words, we are going over to Dr. Subramanian Swamy to initiate today's discussion on the Iran files. Over to Dr. Swamy.
Thank you, Jagdish. You see, there is no doubt that Iran is an ancient country. It was in the early stages. It was ruled by the Parsis, whom we call Parsis today. They were the ones who were there, and in Ramayana, Mahabharata, you get lots of examples. In fact, Dashrath married one of the five, I think, four wives he had. One of them was from Iran, and she in fact, when to help him win the war against the people who were trying to take over Iran, she led the chariot, and when she found that in the chariot the wheels were coming, were going to come off because one of the things that was there binding it was coming off. So she put her own finger in it so that the wheel can continue. And so impressed was Dashrath that he then married her, and as one of the additional wives. And she, of course, turned out to be a very strong lady. She wanted her son to become the succeeding king of Ayodhya, which led to all the problems for which Ramayana was, anyone who reads Ramayana knows how it all happened. So I'm saying that Iran is a long associated country for India. We lost them over the years because the British attacked us, and then you must know that Iran is Shia, and we were attacked by mostly by the Sunnis, and the Sunnis and Shias don't get along with each other. So it just broke off, and subsequently there was a coup after freedom for both countries came in the 1940s, and we found that we were ideologically we were getting together, but at the moment we were not part of the ideology of non-alignment and so on and so forth. We have gone a distance, and so today we want to know whether we want Iran to remain the way it is, because now it is no more a secular body, a secular country, but it is run by clerics, the people who are doing the religious duties. They've taken over, so there's no democracy, etc. And so today, what has happened is that the Americans have got into the act to try and see if they can take it over. And it is a running battle that is going on. And it's not very clear which direction it will go. Of course, the Americans have much more weapons and so on and so forth. But I don't know whether in the end India will be anywhere. As of now, India is nowhere. It's a big joke. America is combined with Israel, but India has not been included in that, and nor anyone else is willing to take India. So the purpose of today's discussion is what kind of a strategy that now we should start pushing our government to adopt, by which we can play a role, because after all it is just across the ocean for us, and we should not be just wash our hands off and say no, we have nothing to do with Iran. Iran has got a lot of common things with us. In fact, even so many of their words they use are taken from Sanskrit. So altogether, Iran was once upon a time ruled by the Parsis, the Zoroastrians as they were called, but then the Islamic forces came through the Shias, and therefore they had to, what we have today as Parsis in India, they are people who had to run away and come to India and settle down in Gujarat. So we have a direct link with Iran, which we must develop. We can't just leave it like that. And that is why I suggested that we should take it up. Now, today what we find is that the Americans have moved in. There are no particular reason to go. But I think Trump probably thought that after getting Venezuela and other places, now I can go and walk into Iran and take it over, because Iran, the white collar people were revolting against these clerics, and so they thought that we can make an issue. But unfortunately, once the Americans got into it, the white collar people all moved out, and it's really between a fight between the Americans and the clerics. And there, the Americans, with all their back history of sending troops abroad and then coming back, whether it was in Vietnam or whether it was later on in Afghanistan or etc. So India stands to lose very, 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 very badly if a hostile nation emerges as Iran. And that is why today I want all of us to start thinking about what India should do. My opinion is that as of now, India has no strategy at all, because Modi is, in a sense, he has been boxed by the fact that with this thing that happened with all the uh, all the things that of women and so on and so forth, where they've been internationally, if not within India, our leadership has been um, has suffered a lot, and people are joking about it abroad very substantially. And so, at least for the fact that if Mr. Modi is incapable of doing anything, because recently he went to Israel and the Israelis never invited him, and it is there in all the newspapers of Israel. But he went there, and he went there for a reason which has got something else to do, not with politics, but with the problem that he is having after Epstein threw the dirty water on all these people. So altogether, I think maybe we are in a difficulty in terms of the materials, um, materials that we need for putting across at this stage. But I think the process of discussing and hoping that by that discussion we will have a deeper discussion in another succeeding one, so that we get into this issue and become and say that uh, associating India with Iran in a positive way is very essential. Over to you, Jagdish, for further discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for that opening remarks on today's discussion. I would like to have Ramesh Swamy to give his perspective and how it is going to impact India. First, what he feels, what is happening in America perspective, and how what is India's role in the whole thing, if it has any role at all.
Thank you. Thank you, Jagdishji. Thank you, Dr. Swamy. Hopefully, Arvind will join us soon. But Dr. Swamy, I'll give you my perspective. Last week, we had the same program, and we were everybody was under the assumption that the war would end soon. I don't think it is, Dr. Swamy. What is, in my view, after a week of that, 2 weeks of analysis, I just learned from what Mahabharata teaches me. So Trump is kind of become an Abhimanyu. So he's got into a Chakravyuh and is trying to find a way out. But it is not as, you can't do a direct analysis because there are other forces here also into play. There is Israel, and there are also blunders committed by Iran in this matter. The biggest impact, Dr. Swamy, of all this extended war is going to be the economy of all countries. Predominantly, I would say more from in the Asian countries. They are going to have the highest impact, Dr. Swamy. This is my personal view. One second, there's something wrong with my view. Sorry. Okay. So what is happening, Dr. Swamy, is that if in the America kind of thought that if they bomb and eliminate all the senior leaders in the Iran regime, the army will surrender. IRGC, I don't think is built like that. So they have launched drone attacks, one thing after another, Dr. Swamy. So this has become a challenge, and to a lot of the countries nearby, and a lot of the countries nearby, especially because Dubai is defenseless. It's a small country. It depends on other Emiratis to help them. Right? Be it Dubai, be it Muscat, be it Oman, be it Qatar, the UAE, Saudi, even to some extent, even to a large extent, Libya. Everybody has got impacted by this. So what Iran is, that in my view is what the blunder Iran has created, that it has opened up a lot of fronts in this war with multiple countries. I'm going to come to India later, Dr. Swamy, but the impact, we have to understand how this flows to the global world, globally, and especially to India. What has happened, Dr. Swamy? Now Iran has also stretched its limits, and now the US has no other option but to go full hog and trying to get an end to this thing. So, and that's why I think yesterday they started another major offense. There is even talks in the US about getting boots on the ground, but it's too premature. But there are a lot of rumors spreading in America that America might just get boots on the ground, which I think is going to be a huge, huge, huge mistake. So, I mean, I don't think America should engage in boots on the ground. as far as possible, do what is a good strategy that they're doing right now and come up with a solution. Boots on the ground is not going to be helpful, because the one thing that America, at least I would say, has an advantage because of this Iranian blunder. They could co-opt the resources of all the Arabic countries around Iran and force Iran to, surrender or surrender to this whole thing and get something going on. Internally, every country has suffered, Doctor. So not even a single country in this world, literally, even though if they're on the other side of the globe, are getting impacted purely because energy, Doctor. So I mean, the Strait of Hormuz is in such a mess today that oil, for all its practical reasons, is not flowing from anywhere in the Middle East. None of the oil is flowing from the Middle East. Every country is getting impacted, be it China, India, the whole of Southeast Asia is impacted. To a large extent, America is kind of insulated a little bit. I'm not saying fully, because we have our own generation of oil and gas, which unfortunately India doesn't have. Coming to the India angle, Dr. Swamy, India is going to be going to have the largest impact, in my view, in that region, because India depends pretty much 80 to 85 or even 90% of its energy from the Middle East countries. They have some oil coming from Russia, and that might continue to come through Suez Canal, because that's not going to get impacted by the Strait of Hormuz. That might still continue to come because America has allowed India to buy Russian oil. So obviously India is on one begging call or the other, saying that, Russia, please allow me to buy oil from Russia. And then they go to Iran and say, please allow our ships to follow. India's strategy, as you said, Dr. Swamy, is completely befuddling. The so-called Vishwaguru, he should have established a lot of good relationships with a lot of these countries, has come to zero. We have nothing from any of the countries, from an India perspective, that they have anything of any advantage in this whole situation. They're not able to, so they can't even negotiate with America. They have to go beg, saying that, okay, please allow me 30 more days to buy oil from Russia, or go to Iran and say, please allow our ships to come through. This is not in a good setting, Doctor. So, and then when a ship comes into Bombay, the MEA or somebody in the PIB says, oh, no, it's not our ship. It is a ship that was bound for Africa, but it has come to Bombay. I don't get what this is, Dr. Swamy, what kind of a denial this is. But anyway, these are the kind of denials that we're seeing from India. Coming to Iran, Dr. Swamy, I don't see an end game, at least in the next 2 weeks, from a global perspective. And this is going to have a severe impact. Most of the manufacturing industries, we need energy, Dr. Swamy. And if that's getting cut, I'm talking about global supply, it's going to have a severe impact. China, to a large extent, can survive because they have extensive coal. They're just going to fire up more coal. And they have built up a substantial reserve of oil. I think that's where India has failed. Even though India being so proximal to most of these Middle Eastern countries, and being Pakistan, whatever, India should have built a huge stockpile. And unfortunately, again, another opportunity wasted. I can guarantee you, Dr. Swamy, India will not learn a lesson again. They will not build a stockpile for oil anywhere, anytime soon. Because the corruption is so high, only few conglomerates wants to get benefited from all this oil crisis. And if that is the thing, any regime change is just going to continue. If I bribe A, so what? Then if some B comes into play, I'll bribe B. So that is the situation that India is, because they don't have a strategic thinking that we need to have strategic oil reserves. India, being vast, has not built enough reserves. They're not able to sustain even for 2-3 days, Dr. Swamy. Most of the gas station or petrol stations in Chennai are shut because they don't have petrol supply. The government immediately 2 days after, 3 days after, less than a week after the war says no commercial LPG supply. The entire restaurant industry is in doldrums in India. It is such a pathetic situation that they're not able to sustain even for 15 days, 20 days, even for a month. I think the biggest impact in India is that the lack of preparedness and lack of oil, any energy reserve, Dr. Swamy, that it's not going to get easy. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take at least 3 to 4 months for India to recover if the war ends today. I'm giving you an example. If the war ends today, it's going to at least take 3 to 4 months for India to recover from where it was today, earlier, Dr. Swamy, because it is not easy to navigate all these energy things, because there was one very good analysis. Oil gets pumped every day, Dr. Swamy. Now, let's assume, give or take a few, let us say there are 20 billion barrels of oil getting pumped. I'm just giving you a number, right? 20 billion. Now, because of all of this, now they have shut down all this oil wells, because the oil wells cannot be keep on producing. Where will you ship? There is no place to store. All the ships are stuck somewhere in the middle of the sea or somewhere in some port. Nobody is moving anything. No oil is moving anywhere from the Middle East, at least from that part of the region. Absolutely no oil is moving. So oil production has come to almost a standstill. The only thing Saudi probably can do is try to push it through the other side of the country, but that also is getting limited only so much. They can only push so much. This is a huge quagmire globally, and India is right in the middle of it because, and as usual, politically they are on both sides of the coin. If they support Iran, America will give them a thrashing. If they support America, the Iran will give them a thrashing. So India is caught between a rock and a hard place, Dr. Swamy, in this situation. At least from an India's perspective, India should, as usual, stay quiet, wait for things to unravel and see what happens. But it's not going to be an easy recovery. This is my quick analysis, Dr. Swamy.
So this one question, Jagdish, if I may. What was the provocation of the Americans to go into a United Nations member? And I mean, we may not like Iran's present religious groups, but the fact is that they are recognized in the United Nations. They are recognized as a leader of the Iranians, Iran country at least, and Iran government. So what is the need for India to take a stand at all when you are not even being invited? When Israel was invited, Israel and the Americans got together. Why India was not a part of that? If you are not a part of that, and you can't afford to be a part of the Iranians, then we should have been totally neutral, saying that we are not in this at all. But we made comments, we went around here, there, and so on. So I only want to ask you that would you have, if being in the position advising Indian government, would you have told them to do what they have done, or would you have said, no, just stay away from it? This is the fight between the Americans and the Iranians. I still don't know what was the provocation for Americans to go in and bomb the hell out of Iran. Nobody is for Iran. It's after all it has overturned a democratic Iran, and it's now become a theocracy where they're using religion as a way. We are not supporters of Iran, but the fact is that the Americans have taken this almost perhaps only with Israel, but they have not consulted anybody else. They've just gone in and landed in Iran. So this is the question: can the relations be created? Can the United Nations function? There's no United Nations in de facto today.
Correct.
They haven't even called a meeting. You see.
Absolutely.
It means the Americans can do anything they want. I mean, we are all friends of America in the sense I have been educated in America. I've been a professor in America. I'm ideologically right-wing. All that you see is there, and I'm dead against the communists, particularly Russians. But the fact is that the logic has to also be prevailed. The Americans have gotten to it, and they are not able to complete. If they had gone in and taken over in about 10 days, one can understand when everybody would have kept their mouth shut. But today it is just going on, bleeding each other, and the Americans also trying, the Iranians also dying. So I'm saying to you, was it a smart move? Because you're an American, after all, American citizen, so you better defend them if you want. But Was it wise for them to come all the way into Iran when they had already got Latin America and this and that other little things in his nearby places in their pocket? Why should a democracy go and occupy a country with which there was no military war between the two?
Okay. Good, Dr. Swamy, great questions. I understand. So there was I'll answer your first part of the question. Was it worth for America to get into the war? I mean, the first answer, I would say it's more leaning towards a no than an emphatic yes. I'll tell you the reasons why, Dr. Swamy. The Oman and the other Middle East countries were in the US telling Vice President J.D. Vance that we have a very good deal where Iran has agreed to every condition of nuclear disarmament, saying that no, they will not enrich uranium forever, perpetuity. They will do this. They will have 100% allow IAEA to come and do the inspections. And this was what the Oman foreign minister had declared about a day before Trump declared war. Okay, this is just one day before. The challenge, Dr. Swamy, of course, is this. We learn from our history. Iran has never kept its promises, whatever it's made in the past, ever. Okay, the same mullah controlled country, time and again, whatever deal they've struck, they've violated it. They said immediately everybody called, oh, Obama did a great deal. It was nonsensical. Obama did a deal, gave them money to improve, nothing happened. The same situation, status quo, they started enriching uranium. By the time Trump came to power in the first session, when he tried to negotiate and do a peace deal, then he refused. Trump said, no more deal with you, cut, done. You're sanctioned and stuff like that. Iran has enriched 60. They had about 3.5% a while ago, Dr. Swamy, but soon, after 2015-16 timeframe, Dr. Swamy, Iran has enriched uranium up to 60%, which is nuclear grade, weapon grade uranium. The 3% is good enough for fuel, which the world agreed, and they kicked out all IAEA inspectors. So the more and more, this is my analysis of this, maybe America would have got, and some kind of intelligence, this is my assumption, that this deal is just a bogus deal. This is maybe an eyewash. So for the world, they will appear as though Iran is trying to do a deal, but at the end of the day, it is a matter of weeks before they launch they have a nuclear weapon on the stake. Maybe that is the intelligence. This is what we have to assume, Dr. Swamy. Obviously, these don't come out. Okay. For Trump to launch such a big offense and eliminate the leaders, he did not target anything else. He did not target oil wells. He targeted all missile bases, all Air Force bases, and the leaders. He did not target the people. Obviously, there is some collateral damage, I agree. There is some collateral damage. There are about 1,500 people have died, okay, including everybody else. Americans have lost about 8 to 10 people, and stuff like that. And this is the impact. I have a feeling that if you go on the brighter side, if you say, okay, we should have given that deal a chance, what if it's too late if Iran has a nuclear weapon, Dr. Swamy? That risk probably Trump did not want to take, and he would have bombed. This is my analysis, because I don't have any insight into what really in that place. So this is the only assumption I can make. But if we say that if you allowed this deal, if Iran had really negotiated and they really wanted to do a peace deal, then this attack is unwarranted and it is wrong. I agree with that. But we don't know. History has never, ever proven that Iran will stick to whatever it promises. This is where this whole thing comes into play.
One short question before others take it up. Pakistan has a nuclear bomb, and the world has not suffered for it. I mean, what makes you think that if Iran has atom bomb, they will start using it? The Americans then can bombard them in such a way with nuclear weapons that there will be no Iran left. You see, I don't understand what one atom bomb or 5 atom bombs can do for Iran. Who can they threaten and not be wiped out, you see? So this is an aspect we have to consider. Otherwise, the Americans should have gone to the UN and said they are making an atom bomb. Their predecessors had signed the agreement in the UN, and now these people have come and they have, without even informing the United Nations, they are now making a bomb. So the United Nations should have been forced to come and do something about it. But instead, the Americans just landed with a parachute. Is that a way to run run an international community?
Dr. Swamy, one thing I have to slightly disagree with you on this is because who's holding these nuclear bombs? I mean, Pakistan is basically a puppet of America. So I don't think they would even launch a Diwali rocket without asking America. So that is one. But Iran is a rogue regime. Okay. Iran is a rogue regime, and they have declared they will destroy Israel. That is their only goal.
Oh, they can't.
No,
They may
they have.
say
They're across the sea. What I'm trying to
Pakistan also says India will be destroyed.
that is a different line. Dr. Swamy, Pakistan's resources are nothing like a grain of sand compared to Iran's resources. But anyway, coming back to the discussion, Dr. Swamy, one of the biggest threat that Iran said that Israel should be destroyed. So that is a huge threat as part number one. And number two, if you give nuclear arms to a mullah regime, there is a president in Iran, Dr. Swamy, he has no say. The president says, I will allow the ships to go through Strait of Hormuz. The mullah Ayatollah comes and says, no deal. So the IRGC in Iran doesn't report to the president. It reports to the Ayatollah.
Yeah.
So given this issue, Dr. Swamy, it's a question of nuclear weapons in whose hands. That is the risk. And plus, of course, every other Islamic nation around it, they were also dead against Iran getting any nuclear weapon because they are Shia Sunni. So what do you think? You're lighting one more fire there, right? So that is another easy fire to light up. So that is also a challenge. That's why I feel Iran possessing nuclear weapons is a far bigger threat. It's as big as, for example, North Korea having a nuclear power. The only reason North Korea is controlled is tacitly through China. Otherwise, North Korea will be going havoc about it because China is keeping them under pressure and putting them under the thumb saying that don't do anything. We don't have anybody to control Iran, and that is a situation I feel that Iran possessing nuclear weapons is a huge threat to everybody in that region. Over to you, Jagdish ji.
Okay. I think before Arvind comes in, Dr. Swamy, at least what I said a few weeks ago, it was a welcome development that that is Israel, US is taking on the Iran regime, and that India was taking neutral, or I would say it was pro US Israel from the previous statements of the government of India. It used to be always trying to take a neutral stand, but after this attack, at least the government of India seemed to be not making any statements, except that the external affairs secretary went and filed the condolence register at the ministry of not the ministry, sorry, the embassy of Iran in Delhi. But the question is, Dr. Swamy, is that in the long run, the access of Israel, India, and USA would perhaps be beneficial for the world order, and India also would benefit out of it. But the question is, has the Modi government in the short run thought about the consequences of the oil embargo or the movement of the ships in the Hormuz Strait? What will happen immediately for India? In the long run, maybe it will be useful for India, and it should perhaps move in that direction. But in the short run, has India calculated the risk of being neutral, or the so-called neutral, in the whole crisis? Because in the past, India has not been as neutral as it is now pretending to be. So what do you think, Dr. Swamy, could be the short-term losses for India? Or do you think, from whatever talent Modi's cabinet has, would they have think into this?
Well, first of all, in my entire rebuttal of our friend, I did not refer to India at all, because I know India doesn't exist. I mean, as a force, Modi has become a joker. He has been found fooling around with women in foreign countries, and they may have suppressed it in India, but the whole world knows it. and it's a disgrace that the man goes every day to some country, and nothing comes out of it. So I don't want to get into India in the picture at all. I'm only saying this, that if the US and Israel I can understand, they depend on the Americans, so they go along with them. But if the United States felt this was a threat, they should have called, where they have a majority, they should have called the Security Council and first got a resolution passed condemning Iran, and then the threat, and saying that if they don't back off, we are going into it. And as a United Nations body, they can go into it. So those are the things that should be done. It's now it's it's either the mullahs of Iran or the singleton in United States. So I mean, this is not the way international bodies can be stabilized, in my opinion. That was basically my focus.
अरविंद, आप कुछ आपका राय प्रकट करेंगे?
या जरूर जगदीश, थैंक यू। मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि सबसे पहले भारत की भूमिका क्या होनी चाहिए। जब हमने इस तरह के प्रोग्राम में पिछले बार बहस की थी, तब भी मेरा कहना था कि तटस्थ होना एक तरह का अपराध है, लेकिन आप भारत की परिस्थिति देखिए। भारत का व्यापार अमेरिका से है, भारत का बहुत बड़ा व्यापार का हिस्सा मध्य पूर्व से, पश्चिम एशिया से है। ईरान के साथ हमारे संबंध मधुर रहे हैं। बाकी जो कंट्रीज जिसमें इन्वॉल्व हैं, मुस्लिम कंट्रीज गल्फ की जो इन्वॉल्व हैं, उनसे हमारे संबंध बहुत अच्छे रहे हैं। तो ऐसी स्थिति में हम क्या कर सकते थे? हम किसी एक पक्ष का साथ नहीं ले सकते थे, ये भी सही है। पिछली बार हमने देखा जब इजराइल का हमास के साथ एक तरह का द्वंद्व चलता रहा, काफ़ी समय तक चलता रहा। फिलिस्तीन और इजराइल का बहुत लंबा इतिहास रहा है, वहाँ भी हम न्यूट्रल रहे। यूक्रेन और रशिया का जब कन्फ्लिक्ट हुआ तो वहाँ भी हम न्यूट्रल रहे। तो भारत की एक परंपरा एक प्रकार से रही है। ये परंपरा सही है गलत है, इस पर हम बहस कर सकते हैं। जो 1960 में सही था, 1970 में सही था, आज जो 2025 में सही है कि नहीं है, इस पर बहस हो सकती है। लेकिन हमारे लगभग 1 करोड़ भारतीय श्रमिक गल्फ की कंट्रीज में काम कर रहे हैं। 1 करोड़ लोग काम कर रहे हैं, उनकी सुरक्षा भी हमारा, उनको जो पैसा भारत में भेजते हैं, तो भारत की इकोनॉमी का एक बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा हमारे उन लोगों से आता है जो गल्फ कंट्रीज में हमारे काम कर रहे हैं। उसमें ईरान भी शामिल है। अब अमेरिका की जहाँ तक बात है, मेरा जो व्यक्तिगत ऑब्जर्वेशन है कि जिस तरह का मैं एक अगर हिंदी में शब्द इस्तेमाल करूं, सनक का मतलब अंग्रेजी में जब बहुत नजदीक मैवरिक कह सकते हैं। जिस तरह की सनक डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने दिखाई है अपने दूसरे कार्यकाल में, उस तरह की सनक के चलते अमेरिका कुछ भी कर सकता है, कहीं भी कुछ कर सकता है, अपनी बर्बादी की कीमत पर भी कर सकता है। और मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि इस युद्ध से अमेरिका को नुकसान नहीं है। अमेरिका के नागरिक परेशान हैं। जिस तरह से ट्रंप ने पहले टैरिफ लगाए, पूरी दुनिया में टैरिफ लगाए, पूरी दुनिया में टैरिफ लगाने से अमेरिकी नागरिकों का भी जीवन मुश्किल हुआ, और अमेरिकी नागरिक भी ट्रंप से उतने ही परेशान है जितनी बाकी दुनिया परेशान है। तो भारत के सामने एक विकल्प यही था कि यदि हम एक पक्ष लेते हैं तो दूसरे पक्ष को आगे के लिए, भविष्य के लिए हम नाराज करते हैं, वो संभव नहीं था। जहां तक डॉक्टर स्वामी ने न्यूक्लियर पावर की बात की, पाकिस्तान की बात की, ईरान के पास भी 1990 में जब गल्फ की वार हुई थी, या जब इराक पे अमेरिका का अटैक हुआ था, सद्दाम हुसैन के साथ जो हुआ था, सद्दाम हुसैन ने क्या किया था? वेपन्स ऑफ मास डिस्ट्रक्शन, WMD को निशाना बना के। तो ये अमेरिका की दादागिरी है। चाहे वो सद्दाम की बात हो, सद्दाम के समय की बात हो, चाहे वो अभी की बात हो, चाहे वो ईरान की बात हो, वेनेजुला। अमेरिका ने इतनी बड़ी दादागिरी दिखाई कि किसी देश के राष्ट्र प्रमुख को उठा के अपने देश में बाहर ले आए। और तेल के भंडार पे कब्जा कर ले। तो अमेरिका में जो उस समय रूल है डोनाल्ड ट्रंप का, एक सनकी राज है, सनक है उनके पास, और वो सनक पूरी दुनिया को एक तरह से बर्बादी के रास्ते पे ले जा रही है। ये किसी के लिए भी अच्छा नहीं है, अमेरिका के लिए भी अच्छा नहीं है। इसलिए सही है भारत ने एक उभय पक्ष लिया है, दोनों तरफ से बात की है। ईरान के राष्ट्रपति से भी, जो नए जो चुने गए हैं, उनसे भी बात हुई है। रक्षा मंत्री लगातार बात कर रहे हैं। ये अलग बात है कि जैसे रमेश ने शुरुआत में कही कि वी आर नोवेयर, हम कहीं नहीं हैं, हम किसी के साथ नहीं हैं और हम सबके साथ हैं। और सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान और सबसे ज्यादा तकलीफ अगर किसी को हो रही है तो भारत में हो रही है। भारत की जनता तेल की क्राइसिस में, गैस की क्राइसिस में खासतौर से, सरकार चाहे कुछ भी कहे, सरकार कहती रहे कि विपक्ष ने एक अफवाह फैलाई है और पूरे देश में एक माहौल पैदा कर दिया है। ये अगर आप वस्तु स्थिति देखें, शहरों में जाकर देखें, गांव में जाकर देखें, कस्बों में जाकर देखें, तो लोग परेशान हैं। सरकार लगातार वादे कर रही है किंतु लोग लगातार परेशान हैं। तो हम युद्ध में कहीं नहीं हैं, लेकिन युद्ध की विभीषिका हम ही झेल रहे हैं सबसे ज्यादा, और दूसरे देश भी झेल रहे हैं जो युद्ध में है, लेकिन भारत की ये परेशानी है। तो जहां तक पाकिस्तान की बात है, पाकिस्तान ने कुछ नहीं किया, पाकिस्तान अमेरिका के साथ में, इसलिए पाकिस्तान को छोड़ दिया। व्हाट अबाउट नॉर्थ कोरिया? अभी नॉर्थ कोरिया चुप है। नॉर्थ कोरिया ने अपने वेपन्स टेस्ट किए हैं। नॉर्थ कोरिया भी न्यूक्लियर पावर है। नॉर्थ कोरिया किधर जाएगा सबको पता है। नॉर्थ कोरिया और साउथ कोरिया के रिलेशन सबको पता है। जगदीश, आप हमारे साथ नॉर्थ कोरिया गए थे 30 साल पहले, आपको पता होगा। नॉर्थ कोरिया और साउथ कोरिया किसके साथ है? साउथ कोरिया अमेरिका के साथ है। तो जाहिर है कि नॉर्थ कोरिया अगर जाएगा तो वो अमेरिका के खिलाफ जाएगा, इजराइल के खिलाफ जाएगा। अभी नॉर्थ कोरिया ने अपने बस्ते नहीं खोले हैं। तो ये युद्ध अगर 2-3 दिन में इसका कोई हल नहीं निकलता तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा टर्न ले सकता है। चीन अभी तक बिल्कुल चुप है। चीन ने अपने पत्ते नहीं खोले हैं। रशिया कुछ ना कुछ मदद कर रहा है ईरान की, ये तो सबको पता है। और अगर चीन और रूस और नॉर्थ कोरिया ये लोग भी आ गए तो युद्ध बहुत ज़्यादा आगे जाएगा। और जिस तरह यूक्रेन और रशिया का वार हम समझते थे कि 1 हफ्ते की बात है, 2 हफ्ते की बात है, 1 महीने की बात है, 3 साल हो गए और वो युद्ध खत्म नहीं हुआ। हमें नहीं पता ये जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है पश्चिम एशिया का, ये कितनी दूर तक जाएगा। लेकिन भारत को एक दूरदृष्टि लगानी पड़ेगी, ये देखना पड़ेगा। हम जरूर कह सकते हैं कि भारत के विश्व गुरु का मजाक बन रहा है, सब कुछ बन रहा है, लेकिन स्थिति ऐसी नहीं है कि हम किसी एक पक्ष का साथ लें, ये मेरा मानना है।
अरविंद चतुर्वेदी जी, आपने कहा, you said that there are a lot of Indians, perhaps lakhs or even more, working in the Gulf countries, and things
More than 9
could get
million.
affected. But the question is how the government of these countries are supporters of USA. So there is no threat to our people, even if suppose we had taken somebody's side or not taken somebody's side. The government of those countries are pro-American and they are not going to harass our Indians being there.
No, but Iran is attacking these countries. Iran is attacking these countries, including Dubai.
But even if India was to support Iran, the attacks would take place anyhow. They would not stop the attacks.
Correct. That is why I'm saying
No.
India is in a precarious condition. इंडिया के पास बहुत सीमित विकल्प हैं। इंडिया पिछली बार जब मैंने कहा था, महाभारत का एक उदाहरण भी दिया था और मैंने कहा था तटस्थ होना अपराध है, लेकिन जो वर्तमान में परिस्थिति बन रही है, पिछले 15 दिनों में 16 दिनों में जो परिस्थिति बनी है और जो आगे परिस्थिति आगे जाके बन सकती है, भारत के लिए इस समय उभयनिष्ठ रहना, दोनों तरफ बनाए रहना, सभी से बातचीत करना, कोशिश करना, प्रयास करना कि किसी तरह ये जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है ये शांत हो, इस पर रोक लगे और कोई ना कोई समझौते का रास्ता निकले।
So, one important piece that Arvindji you mentioned was China. Okay, and China is, in my view, Dr. Swamy is a beneficiary of this war in certain lot of angles. I'll tell you why. This is my analysis. In 2020, late 20s, I think when was it 24 or 23, when America destroyed their pipelines, Iran made a deal with China. It says oil for weapons program. They signed a deal with China, and they said we wanted all your missiles, anti-airship missiles, this and that, and kind of drones, and they signed a deal with China, doctors. And they were given oil at a discounted price. China was given a discounted price. Even though the biggest advantage that Iran gained over others was access to China's GPS satellites. Earlier, Iran was totally dependent on the Western GPS constellation. This is for their own drones, Dr. Swamy, for the drones, the flights, everything. Iran was dependent on. Tejas, what happened? Okay, so Iran was totally dependent on the Western nation satellites. So now they switched to the Chinese ones, and that is why in this war, the drones, Iranian drones, are more successful. So that is one angle. China benefited from that. The second angle, Dr. Swamy, that the so-called Chinese anti-ship missiles totally failed. This is the other side of what's happening with China. But financially and economically, China has gained and will continue to gain. They've remained silent, very silent in this war. They're not saying anything, either this way or that way. Even unlike India is saying, I called this president, I called that president. Modi is every day calling somebody like a call center, calling, I spoke to him. China is not uttering a single word.
Absolutely.
They're just they're watching how this is going to unfold. And that's why I feel China might come out in the top for all practical reasons. They're just being watchful, not being, I think this is what you also alluded to, Doctor. So I mean, in the sense that India should have not done anything, just sit back. But India has a far more direct impact in terms of they were afraid of the people. What happens in the diaspora? The election is around the corner. What if 5 Indians get killed in one of these things? What will happen to the election? This constant fear of any ruling party here is what is driving India. Unlike China, China is watching this very closely, and they are keeping abject silence, and they're not doing anything. Only thing I would, Arvindji, I would take a slight deviation from what he said. Russia is already stretched thin with Ukraine. They hardly can afford any weapons for Iran today because they don't have themselves, leave alone anybody else. But what happened in all this thing, Russia gained because America now allowed everybody to buy oil from Russia. So what? Suddenly they've seen a jump within a week. They got a 200 billions of dollars are flowing into Russia,
and they've increased the price also.
Correct. And so now Russia is gaining in the process. China will gain in the. India is stuck between like a Trishanku, between a rock and a hard place, as usual, trying to do a deal on both sides. This kind of a banya attitude will not take us anywhere, Dr. Swamy. We have India has no seat on any of this table. Dr. Swamy, one very important point you talked about the UN. I have one comment about that, Dr. Swamy. The UN is a toothless tiger. It is a useless body that keeps to appease the one country or the other. Even if he had taken to the Security Council, even though America would have won, they would have probably got a legitimacy. Based on what you said, probably, Dr. Swamy, they would have gotten legitimacy to attack Iran. But even today, after 15 days of the war, as you said, Dr. Swamy, in the beginning, why hasn't the UN said even a single word, Dr. Swamy? That shows that even the UN is far more toothless than India. At least India has some tooth. They're at least going here and there. It's
only on paper. It's only on paper.
It's only on paper. This is what my analysis, because 15 days has passed, Dr. Swamy. Nothing has happened. The UN has not said a single word. And I don't think UN is effective anymore at all.
No, how can you have a world order where the army of the country goes to another country, captures the head of the state, brings that as a criminal to another country, and UN is silent?
Yeah.
It is only a paper. It is only on paper.
Yes, sir. Jagdish ji, go ahead.
No, I think we have already passed 45 minutes and it's time for Arvind to wind up. But I only want to make, based on what we discussed 2 weeks ago, it appeared that India was part of this whole program of USA, Israel attack on Iran. But as things are coming out, we have no real role to play. I wish India had a role to play, and that would make our long-term interest perhaps more secure, and maybe we would have gained something even for the short run. But it doesn't appear that Modi has such plan. To Arvind to wind up.
Courage, Jagdish ji. Jagdish ji, at least, like for example, what Dr. Swamy said in the beginning, you take a stand. It might be wrong, but at least take a stand. The people will respect you for you taking a stand, but India doesn't want to take a stand anytime, right? That is the end of the game, because India, all practical reason, India is a very good friend of Israel, and of course, as Dr. Swamy, are friends of the Iranian people, not the regime. So our choice should have been very clear. They did not have the guts, like what you just said, when Dr. Swamy did. We don't have the guts to say what place we stand on. That is the issue.
Yes. Not only that, we mentioned about Israel friendship, but when the Prime Minister Modi went to Israel just 1 or 2 days before the war began, he has not even made it public that what was the talk with Netanyahu. I mean, what is India doing with Israel? Of course, we have a friendly relationship for years. But what exactly was the purpose of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Israel in the last week of February? We do not know. And whether it had anything to do with the attack on Iran. And people are only suspecting that what was the role of India. So to sum up, the situation is very confusing from the India's perspective. India cannot afford to take a side. Though two weeks back when we discussed that, it was suggested by Dr. Swamy also that we should have gone with the US in long term. But we cannot even afford to have Iran as a conflicted country with us. And therefore, it is not only Iran one, but even the other countries which are going to be involved. China, as I said, is silent. North Korea is only looking for an opportunity. नॉर्थ कोरिया में मैंने एक डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के लिए शब्द इस्तेमाल किया था, सन की राष्ट्रपति. तो नॉर्थ कोरिया में भी एक सन की राष्ट्रपति है, और यदि नॉर्थ कोरिया के राष्ट्रपति का भी दिमाग घूम गया तो क्या विश्व युद्ध की स्थिति आएगी, या ये जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है ये आगे और तेज होगा, भारत को देखना है. लेकिन ये बात बड़े अफसोस की बात है कि भारत ने कोई कदम अभी तक नहीं उठाया है. इसके बावजूद our people are suffering. Our people have already started feeling the pinch of the war because of shortage of oil and gas. Though government is promising that there is no shortage, pipeline is full, the supply chain is complete, but the ground reality may be slightly different.
Sorry. Dr. Swamy, do you have any closing comments? Do you see where the war is going to end? Dr. Swamy, I just wanted to have Dr. Swamy have any end comments.
Well, you're going to find a situation where the Americans will withdraw.
Okay.
They can't. There's no way. It's already clear. 20 days have gone by. I would see, the question is whether you put the horse before the
cart before the horse.
I only said that before you move in, you go to the UN and get a mandate where the Iranians also will have to answer. And once the resolution is passed by majority that what the Iranians have done is wrong and that they must now reverse themselves, otherwise the United Nations will endorse action against the Iranians. We would have had a much better atmosphere rather than we are watching as sitting on the side, watching who's playing what, kicking the ball here and kicking the ball there. I mean, we have no role to play. There in the UN, you had a role to play, and you could have created a situation where the whole world would have agreed by majority, would have agreed to the United States taking action. Here, the United States just turned up there. So this is the issue which I want to raise, but I think Arvind went a bit far, in my opinion. We will discuss this again when the more events take place in this issue.
What about the economic impact, Doc? One of the questions, what is the economic impact? What do you see?
Impact of what?
About the war. What will have from
for whom? For whom?
For India.
India is having a problem without even this fight.
Okay.
India is in a mess. And what about all this women's issue, which has created a huge impact, you see? I think India is with Modi in office. I don't think you're going to get anything else. All you will get is his climbing on an aeroplane and going somewhere and making a statement and coming back. He has not been respected by anybody nowadays. You see, you can see it. I can give you example after example.
Arvindji, conclude. Yeah, because I just
Dr. Swamy, do you think India's stand has anything to do with things other than the war?
India has no stand. What is the stand? I want to know. That you keep saying there's stand, there's stand. This is the Americans and the Iranians. That's all. And the others are all Sunnis. They couldn't care less if the Americans bashed up these people. There's nothing for them in that. So if the Americans have tomorrow another 20 people dead in their military, I'm sure that the United States people will all rise in revolt, and this fellow will withdraw, because he's already 20 days, he hasn't been able to get anything done.
Okay. Arvindji, you can conclude, Arvindji.
Yeah, before we conclude, let me just, Ramesh, reply to your earlier question on India's impact on India's economy. Certainly, war anywhere in the world affects the economy of a country where there is a trade. Now, India has been in trade with West Asian countries, Iran, US also. So when the trade is affected, we have already seen the situation where tariff was affecting our exports, and certainly war will affect the trade situation of India. Maybe balance of trade will also be a little more negative, and foreign exchange crisis may come. We have sufficient treasures of foreign exchange. Crisis may not come, but certainly it will be impacting our foreign exchange reserves also. Thank you, Dr. Swamy. You know US by pulse. You know your palm of the right hand knows United Stations like that, and you know the situation in the Gulf. You have seen, you were a minister when there was a crisis in 1991, and you
came with me.
I came to Kuwait with you and saw the burning oil wells in 1991 from a distance of 200 meters. And we have seen that situation. India had taken a stand that time to side with the US by providing the fueling facility for the American warplanes. And time is not out yet, Ramesh. Time is not out yet. India can still take a stand, very clear stand, and India can play a very important role. We do not know what is going to happen in next 2-3 days or next 2-3 weeks, whether the war will continue or there will be एक कोई solution आने वाला है, कोई हल निकलने वाला है. We are not sure. हो सकता है कि 2-3 दिन में, 4 दिन में, 5 दिन में ईरान सरेंडर कर दे, या अमेरिका पीछे हो जाए, या रशिया इंटरवीन कर दे, whatever. But there is a possibility. So India can still take a very clear stand about the current conflict, and time is not yet out. Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for giving a wonderful analysis today. After this is the second time we are discussing on this issue. Thank you, Ramesh, for giving your perspective, being in the United States and having the information firsthand. And thanks, Jagdish. Thanks the technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Swaminathan, Tejas Navalgul, Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwar Iyer, Rajesh Nair, Gurdar Shetty. We have been discussing the Indian situation, global situation, regional situation, time and again on Sunday, 8 p.m. every week. Like that, we'll be meeting next Sunday again with a new topic and with Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Till then, viewers, namaskar. Thank you for joining with us. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.